All right, Victor Howe, we're here in Vegas, and joining me is Deuce McAllister. Deuce, we've had a lot of interviews, my friend, over the years, but we're doing the Zoom thing, post-game, social distancing here in Las Vegas. And seriously, this was a weird game. I mean, the Saints jump out to the big lead, and then the Raiders have 24 unanswered points. Was this, it's just a surprising loss the way this team started this game.
Definitely a surprising loss, and one that they should be frustrated with themselves about because, even though you lost this game, you're the better team. You can't play the game of football on paper, and, you're not allowed to. The Raiders came out. They got some confidence really in that second half, and, they got comfortable in what they wanted to do. They didn't rush for a ton of yardage. I think you still held Josh Jacobs under 100 yards, but, they were able to possess the football, and by possessing the football, they're big offensive linemen. They were able to lay on our defensive line, and what hurt us overall, not only the penalties, but it was the inability to get off the field on third down. And it makes you upset. It makes you upset, and I think at the end of the day, you had missed tackles, you had a few missed assignments, and, this is a game that the Saints really just kind of have to look at themselves and say, yeah, the Raiders beat us, but we didn't help ourselves either.
Hey, you mentioned the penalties. I thought that the players who committed, a lot of them were players you normally, you lean on, the Cam Jordans, the Ryan Ramczyks, and that late Janoris Jenkins flag, that doesn't happen. Maybe they have a late comeback in this game. I thought, it was troubling to see so many penalties on both sides of the ball from players you normally rely on and normally aren't making those big mistakes.
Well, and that's where Sean is going to have to get it cleaned up. Because, you're not doing all of that just on game day. You're doing some of that stuff during the week, and, he'll get that corrected, with play time and making sure the guys are doing the things the right way. Because you just can't hurt yourself like that. Right now, you're not clicking on all cylinders. And so you've got to be able to play clean football, and they're not playing clean football at all.
Deuce, I just talked to Drew Brees, and he was saying, obviously we saw in this game, this offense making a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes, and Drew, not making throws we've grown accustomed to seeing him make, especially on third down. What do you think of the passing game after watching them the first two games?
Not consistent. Guys not knowing exactly, not necessarily where to line up, but where they're supposed to be on certain routes. What are we expecting? You're trying to run before you catch the football. You've got drops, and it's just, you had some rhythm and timing early, and then you just really fell apart with that rhythm and timing. And, you just got to get back to complementary football. You were able to rush the ball over 100 yards, but you didn't run it enough. And so you just got to get back to complementary football.
Deuce, early on in this game, when the Saints jumped out to the early lead, I thought, wow, this is impressive without Michael Thomas. And you mentioned it too. You missed Michael Thomas, but they could have won this game without Michael Thomas. It shows how good this offense is. How much talent they have. Not having Michael Thomas is big, but they could have overcame that tonight.
They could have overcame it, and obviously Mike is going to be a special player, and he could have helped create some mismatches and some different things, but he's not here. And he can't solve some of the problems that you're having offensively. He can help to alleviate some of those problems, but he can't solve them. This is something that they're going to have to correct on their own.
Let's talk about the running game. We always have to do that with you. Alvin Kamara, well, he's been the one consistent this season. He's on pace to score 32 touchdowns. He's getting it done, catching the football, running the football. You have to be happy with what he's done so far in these first two games.
I was really pleased that he challenged them on the edge and really used his speed, and that's one of the things that sometimes he didn't do a lot of. He was really patient running the football as far as on some of his inside runs, finding that soft spot right behind that center when that guard, and center really pushed it over. So I was pleased with that aspect of it. But even Alvin will tell you, hey, look, I can do a little bit more to help this team out in the run games, and we've got to do a better job of putting our offense in better situations.
Dude, so I thought after last week's game, you thought, wow, they didn't play their best game at all, and they still put up 34 points against the Bucs, and you never really worried about them losing that football game. But now that they lose this one after jumping out to that big lead, is there one thing about this team that concerns you right now?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily concerns you, but I would like to see them correct a couple of things for sure. I would like for them to be a little bit more consistent offensively in the red zone. They had to settle for another field goal. I would love for them to be obviously more consistent third down, getting off the field defensively. And then I would love to see them get a little bit better rhythm. Right now, they don't have a lot of rhythm. And so that's really hurting them when they put themselves in long situations, or they can't overcome some of the things that are hurting them right now.
And finally, Deuce, it doesn't get any easier for the New Orleans Saints. short week, primetime game. Aaron Rodgers and the high potent offense comes in. The Green Bay Packers, the Superdome next week. It'd be a great bounce back game if they can win it, but it's not going to be easy.
You would love to be able to lean on your fans a little bit as well, but you don't even have that. So, I mean, for this group, you can look at and do some self-evaluation because it won't get easier. You'll be back on prime time. Let's go see if you can answer the bell.
All right, my friend, we survived our first Zoom interview without a glitch. Great job by you. I'll talk to you next week, and have a great, safe flight back home.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
All right, that's Deuce McAllister. That wraps up our coverage here in Vegas, guys. Tough loss to the New Orleans Saints, but we'll talk to you again next week as the Saints play the Packers.